Did you know that every 5 minutes, about 200 species go extinct? That's faster than you can say, conservation, 50 times. But here's the kicker. Some of the world's most unique animals are vanishing right under our noses, and we barely even notice. In this video, we're shining a spotlight on the disappearing acts of nature's oddest creatures. From the deep-sea dumbo octopus to the prehistoric-looking Saiga antelope, we'll reveal the surprising reasons these animals are fading away. Get ready to discover a side of extinction you've never seen before. You might think you've seen it all, but nature has a way of surprising us. Enter the pangolin, a creature that looks like it stepped right out of a fantasy novel. Picture a mammal covered in scales, like a walking pinecone with a long, sticky tongue. These peculiar animals are as real as they come, and they're in big trouble. Pangolins are often called scaly anteaters, and for good reason. Their bodies are covered in overlapping scales made of keratin, the same stuff that makes up our fingernails. When threatened, they curl up into a tight ball, using their scales as armor. It's a pretty effective defense against most predators, but it turns out it's not so great against their biggest threat, humans. Now, you might wonder what a pangolin's day-to-day life looks like. These nocturnal creatures spend their nights foraging for ants and termites, using their long claws to dig into nests and their sticky tongues to slurp up insects. A single pangolin can eat up to 70 million insects a year. That's a lot of pest control. They play a crucial role in keeping insect populations in check, which is vital for maintaining healthy ecosystems. But here's where things get shocking. Despite looking like a creature that wandered off the set of a fantasy movie, pangolins hold a less magical title. They're the most trafficked mammals in the world. It's hard to believe, but more pangolins are illegally traded than rhinos, elephants, and tigers combined. We're talking about millions of pangolins being snatched from the wild every year. The scale of pangolin trafficking is mind-boggling. In the last decade alone, it's estimated that over 1 million pangolins have been poached from the wild. This relentless hunting has pushed all 8 pangolin species to the brink of extinction. Some species have seen their populations plummet by up to 80% in just 20 years. So what's driving this insane demand? And why can't we seem to put a stop to it? The answers might surprise you. It turns out, pangolins are caught in a perfect storm of traditional beliefs and modern luxury. In some parts of Asia, pangolin scales are believed to have medicinal properties. They're ground up and used in traditional medicines to treat everything from arthritis to asthma. There's no scientific evidence to support these claims, but the belief persists. On top of that, pangolin meat is considered a delicacy in some cultures. In certain high-end restaurants, you might find pangolin on the menu as an exotic luxury dish. This combination of medicinal use and luxury dining has created a booming black market for pangolins. Despite international trade bans, the illegal trafficking continues, driven by high prices and persistent demand. But the pangolin isn't alone in its struggle against unexpected threats. Let's leave the forests and savannas behind and dive deeper into the ocean. There's another peculiar creature facing an uncertain future, and its story is just as surprising. Get ready to meet an octopus that looks like it's ready for takeoff. Imagine an octopus with ears like Dumbo the elephant. Sounds cute, right? Well, these adorable creatures are facing a threat from somewhere you'd least expect. Meet the dumbo octopus, a deep-sea dweller that looks like it floated right out of a Disney movie. But don't let its charming appearance fool you. This little cephalopod is in serious trouble. The dumbo octopus gets its name from its 2 ear-like fins that stick out from the sides of its head, making it look like it's ready to take flight. These fins aren't just for show. They help the octopus swim and steer through the pitch-black waters of the deep ocean. Living at depths of up to 13,000 feet, these creatures have adapted to one of the most extreme environments on Earth. You might think that living so far from human activity would keep the dumbo octopus safe. After all, we're not exactly setting up shop at the bottom of the ocean, right? Well, it turns out that our impact reaches much further than we thought. Despite their remote habitat, dumbo octopuses are not immune to human influence. Studying and protecting deep-sea creatures like the dumbo octopus is no easy task. The extreme pressure, darkness, and sheer distance make it challenging for scientists to observe these animals in their natural habitat. It's like trying to study a needle in a very dark, very deep haystack. This lack of information makes it hard to know exactly how these creatures are being affected by changes in their environment. But here's where things get interesting. Human activities are impacting the deep ocean in ways we're only beginning to understand. Take deep-sea mining, for example. As we search for precious metals on the ocean floor, we're disturbing habitats that have remained untouched for millions of years. Imagine if someone started bulldozing your neighborhood without warning. That's essentially what's happening to these deep-sea communities. Then there's the issue of pollution. You might think that trash and chemicals dumped near the surface couldn't possibly reach the dumbo octopus's home. But ocean currents can carry pollutants to surprising depths. Microplastics have been found in some of the deepest parts of the ocean, and who knows what effect they're having on delicate deep-sea ecosystems. But there's an even bigger, more insidious threat to the dumbo octopus and its deep-sea neighbors. It's something that's changing the very chemistry of the oceans, and it's happening right under our noses. Any guesses? The culprit is climate change, and its partner in crime is ocean acidification. As we pump more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, a significant portion of it gets absorbed by the oceans. This extra CO2 changes the pH of the water, making it more acidic. For creatures like the dumbo octopus, which have evolved in a stable environment for millions of years, even small changes can have big consequences. Ocean acidification can affect everything from the development of shells in some marine animals to the behavior of fish. For the dumbo octopus, it could mean changes in their food supply, problems with reproduction, or even direct physiological effects we haven't yet discovered. It's like changing the rules of the game without telling the players. As we leave the depths of the ocean behind, our journey takes us to a very different landscape. From the dark, pressurized world of the dumbo octopus, we're heading to the vast, open steppes of Eurasia. Here, another strange creature is facing a threat just as unexpected, but potentially even more devastating. Get ready to meet an animal that looks like it walked straight out of the Ice Age, because in a way, it did. What if I told you there's an animal out there that's part antelope, part elephant, and part time traveler? The Saiga antelope has roamed the earth since the Ice Age, outlasting mammoths and saber-toothed cats. But now, this living fossil is facing a threat it's never encountered before. What could possibly endanger a species that's weathered millions of years of change? Let's start with the Saiga's unique appearance. Picture an antelope, but give it an elephant's trunk-like nose. This bizarre schnoz isn't just for show. It helps the Saiga survive in its harsh habitat by filtering out dust and warming cold air before it reaches the lungs. With its wide-set eyes and alien-like features, the Saiga looks like it would be more at home in a sci-fi movie than on the steppes of Central Asia. Speaking of its home, the Saiga's habitat is as tough as they come. These antelopes roam the vast grasslands and semi-deserts of Kazakhstan, Mongolia, and Russia. In these extreme environments, temperatures can swing from scorching hot to freezing cold in a single day. The Saiga's adaptability has allowed it to thrive where other species struggle. But here's where things get weird. Despite surviving for millions of years through ice ages and climate shifts, the Saiga is now critically endangered. In the 1990s, there were more than 1 million Saiga antelopes. Today, there are fewer than 150,000 left in the wild. That's a population crash of more than 85% in just a few decades. What could cause such a dramatic decline in a species that's been around since woolly mammoths roamed the earth? The plot thickens when you learn about the mysterious mass die-offs that have puzzled scientists. In 2015, more than 200,000 Saiga, about 60% of the global population, died in just 3 weeks. Imagine losing more than half of a species in less time than it takes to binge-watch your favorite TV show. It's like something out of a horror movie, but it's all too real. So what's behind these sudden, catastrophic events? The answer is as complex as the Saiga itself. It turns out that climate change, disease, and human activities are all conspiring against this ancient species. Rising temperatures and changing weather patterns are messing with the Saiga's habitat and food sources. At the same time, these changes are making it easier for deadly bacteria to thrive. Remember that weird nose we talked about earlier? Well, it might be part of the problem. Scientists discovered that the bacteria that caused the 2015 die-off usually live harmlessly in the Saiga's nasal passages. But when temperatures and humidity hit just the right, or wrong, levels, these bacteria turn deadly, causing massive internal bleeding. And let's not forget about good old-fashioned human interference. Poaching for the Saiga's horns, which are used in traditional medicine, has taken a huge toll on their population. Add in habitat loss from agriculture and oil exploration, and you've got a perfect storm of threats. As we've seen with the pangolin and the dumbo octopus, the threats to these strange animals are diverse and often unexpected. But there's another factor at play that connects them all, and it might surprise you even more than the Saiga's trunk-like nose. Stick around to find out what it is, and how it's affecting not just these weird and wonderful creatures, but countless species you've never even heard of. When you think of endangered animals, what comes to mind? Pandas. Tigers. While these famous faces of conservation get all the attention, countless other species are silently slipping away. The question is, why do we care so much about some animals and know nothing about others? Enter the world of charismatic megafauna, a fancy term for animals that are, well, popular. These are the creatures that grace our wildlife documentaries, fill our zoos, and dominate conservation campaigns. They're usually large, furry, and have expressive faces that make us go, ah. Think pandas, elephants, and polar bears. But here's the thing. While we're busy saving these animal celebrities, a whole cast of lesser-known species is disappearing right under our noses. You might be surprised to learn that our choice of which animals to save isn't always based on ecological importance. It's often more about what tugs at our heartstrings or looks good on a poster. Media attention plays a huge role in this. When's the last time you saw a fundraising campaign for the preservation of the Bolivian chinchilla rat? Probably never. But I bet you've seen plenty of ads featuring cuddly koalas or majestic tigers. This popularity contest in the animal kingdom has real consequences. Conservation efforts and funding often follow public interest. The more we know about an animal, the more likely we are to care about its fate. It's a cycle that leaves many species out in the cold. Now, you might be thinking, surely we know about all the animals that need saving, right? Wrong. Here's a mind-blowing fact. Scientists estimate that we've only discovered about 20% of the species on Earth. That means there are millions of plants and animals out there that we don't even know exist, let alone how endangered they might be. Even among the species we do know about, many are woefully understudied. Take insects, for example. They make up the majority of animal species on Earth, but how many can you name beyond butterflies and bees? Experts believe we're losing insect species at an alarming rate, but because they're not as exciting as larger animals, they often fly under the radar. So, how is our limited perspective putting entire ecosystems at risk? Well, nature doesn't work in isolation. Every species, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, plays a role in its ecosystem. When we focus all our attention on saving the stars, we might be neglecting the supporting cast that keeps the whole show running. Take pollination, for example. While bees get all the buzz, pun intended, there are countless other insects, birds, and even bats that pollinate plants. If we lose these lesser-known pollinators, entire plant species could disappear, affecting everything up the food chain. The neglect of less appealing species can lead to cascading effects that we might not see until it's too late. A small, unassuming plant might be the primary food source for an insect, which in turn is eaten by a bird, which is then hunted by a larger predator. Remove that plant from the equation, and suddenly you've got a problem that affects multiple species. But it's not just about looks. There's another surprising factor influencing which animals we choose to save. And trust me, it's not what you'd expect. Stick around to find out how our modern world is turning conservation into a popularity contest and what that means for the future of biodiversity. Imagine a world where pandas have Instagram accounts and polar bears tweet about climate change. Sound ridiculous? Well, we're not far off. In fact, social media is playing a surprising role in which animals we save and which ones we let slip away. In today's digital age, conservation has gone viral. Hashtags and memes are now powerful tools in the fight against extinction. Remember hashtag Cecil the Lion? That hashtag didn't just trend, it sparked a global conversation about trophy hunting. Or how about the time the internet fell in love with April the giraffe? Her live-streamed pregnancy racked up millions of views and raised awareness about giraffe conservation. These viral moments can have real-world impacts. Take the case of the pangolin. This scaly anteater was virtually unknown to most people until a few years ago. But thanks to some clever social media campaigns and adorable viral videos, the pangolin has become a poster child for endangered species. This newfound fame has led to increased conservation efforts and stricter protections for these unique animals. But here's the catch: for every animal that goes viral, countless others remain in obscurity. You've probably never heard of the sowler, often called the Asian unicorn. This critically endangered antelope-like creature is so rare that it's never been photographed in the wild. Without a cute picture to share or a catchy hashtag, species like the sowler struggle to capture public attention and, consequently, conservation funding. The same goes for less charismatic creatures like insects or plants. They might be crucial to their ecosystems, but they're not exactly Instagram-worthy. The Lord Howe Island stick insect, for example, is a fascinating creature that was thought to be extinct until a tiny population was discovered in 2001. It's a remarkable conservation story, but one that's rarely told outside of scientific circles. So, how do we balance the power of viral conservation with the need to protect all biodiversity? Some organizations are getting creative. The Ugly Animal Preservation Society, for instance, champions aesthetically challenged, endangered species. They use humor to draw attention to creatures like the blobfish or the proboscis monkey, proving that you don't need to be cute to be worth saving. Other initiatives focus on educating the public about the importance of lesser-known species. The Edge of Existence program, run by the Zoological Society of London, highlights evolutionarily distinct and globally endangered species. They use striking imagery and storytelling to make these often overlooked animals relatable and interesting to the public. Technology is also opening up new possibilities. Virtual reality experiences can transport people to far-off habitats, allowing them to meet endangered species they might never see in real life. Citizen science apps, meanwhile, are turning nature enthusiasts into amateur researchers, helping to gather data on a wide range of species. As we've seen, saving strange animals is a complex challenge that goes beyond just likes and shares. But there's one more surprising factor we need to consider, one that might change the way you think about conservation altogether. Stick around to discover why every strange creature, from the cutest to the creepiest, plays a crucial role in the grand tapestry of life on Earth. You've heard of the butterfly effect, but what about the blobfish effect? It turns out that even the strangest, most obscure creatures play a vital role in nature's delicate balance. And the consequences of losing them, well, they might hit closer to home than you'd ever imagine. When we talk about ecosystems, we're really talking about a complex web of relationships between living things and their environment. Every species, no matter how weird or seemingly insignificant, has a part to play in this grand performance we call nature. It's like a massive, intricate machine where every cog and gear matters, even the ones that look a bit odd. Take the naked mole rat, for example. These wrinkly, hairless rodents might not win any beauty contests, but they're teaching us incredible things about cancer resistance and pain insensitivity. Or consider the axolotl, a salamander that looks like it never quite finished evolving. Its ability to regenerate entire limbs and organs is pushing the boundaries of medical research. But it's not just about what these animals can do for us. Sometimes, the strangest creatures provide unexpected services to their ecosystems. Have you heard of the pangolin? These scaly anteaters might look like walking pine cones, but they're nature's pest control experts. A single pangolin can eat up to 70 million insects a year. Imagine what would happen to insect populations if these bizarre animals disappeared. Even the creatures we can barely see play crucial roles. There's a type of plankton called diatoms that produce about 20% of the oxygen we breathe. These microscopic algae are essentially tiny glass houses floating in the ocean, and they're just as important to our survival as the rainforests. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what's the big deal if we lose a few weird species? Well, the truth is, we often don't know how important a species is until it's gone. It's like removing random parts from a car engine and hoping it still runs smoothly. Sometimes, the loss of one species can trigger a domino effect that reshapes entire ecosystems. Consider the sea otter. When these playful marine mammals were nearly hunted to extinction, sea urchin populations exploded. These spiny creatures then decimated kelp forests, which not only provide habitat for countless marine species but also absorb huge amounts of carbon dioxide. Who would have thought that the fate of our climate could be tied to a furry sea mammal? The hidden benefits of biodiversity go beyond just maintaining ecosystems. Many of our most important medical discoveries have come from studying unusual animals and plants. The Pacific yew tree, for instance, gave us a breakthrough cancer drug. And we've barely scratched the surface of what nature's pharmacy has to offer. As we wrap up our journey through the world of nature's oddballs, it's clear that every strange creature matters. From the depths of the ocean to the tallest trees, each species plays a unique role in the tapestry of life. So next time you see a weird animal or plant, remember, it might just hold the key to our future. But the question remains, what can we do to ensure these wonderful and weird creatures stick around? Let's find out. As we've journeyed through the weird and wonderful world of nature's oddest creatures, one thing has become clear: the strangest animals on Earth are in trouble. From the scaly pangolin to the deep-sea dumbo octopus, these unique species face a complex web of threats. Climate change, habitat loss, and our own biases are all contributing to their decline. But here's the thing, it's not just about saving a few quirky animals. Each of these creatures plays a vital role in their ecosystems, and losing them could have far-reaching consequences we can't even imagine. So, what can we do? Well, it starts with broadening our perspective. We need to look beyond the cute and cuddly poster children of conservation and recognize the value in all species, no matter how strange they might seem. This means supporting conservation efforts for lesser-known animals, educating ourselves about biodiversity, and making choices in our daily lives that reduce our impact on the environment. Remember, Every weird and wonderful creature out there is a piece of the incredible puzzle that is life on Earth. By protecting them, we're not just saving individual species, we're preserving the intricate balance of nature that we all depend on. So next time you come across a bizarre animal fact or a photo of a creature that looks like it's from another planet, take a moment to appreciate its uniqueness. Who knows? That odd-looking critter might just hold the key to a medical breakthrough or play a crucial role in its ecosystem. In the end, ensuring a future for Earth's strangest inhabitants means securing a future for all of us.